Good
Not
evening.
on Kokotoy, that's fine.
We are
Okay,
live.
let's get training. Let's do our intro jingle. Okay, Jack, take it away.
Dee da dee da do.
Oz is not even slightly entertained.
Not amused
Okay,
at
so today we are going to be reviewing our kind of rough-in checklist, right? So framing and rough-in checklist. All of these training sessions are a work in progress in a sense that we're going to review what's on this sheet, kind of talk about the system, kind of talk about how we're going to review it, how sign-offs get done, how it gets recorded, reported, where it's saved. But the actual data within here, you both, Oz and Jack, you have a tremendous amount of experience. So we're going to be looking for you to go through this, use this as a tool, and then give us feedback on how to revise this template to add things that's missing, remove things that aren't applicable, things like that.
Okay.
For the most part, this is a checklist. It's a little bit of a data dump, just like how we do our contracts start with a original template that has all items included, and then we remove items that aren't applicable. This is kind of the same thing. So if we're doing a project and we're doing a deck, well, you're not going to have wall and roof frame. You wouldn't have any of the rough ends either, potentially. So if we do a project that doesn't have plumbing, like Rallis or something like that, then that wouldn't be applicable. So we're using this as a generic template to go through. So I want to kind of go through the rough overview of what we're looking at. I don't really want to look at all the line items to be honest. We'll do a couple of examples to look at, but we just kind of want to go through the fundamentals of it and then figure out to make sure, because we want this to be able to be used as a memory jogger just to catch anything possible. This would ultimately be on the project manager's task list to do, but I believe this would kind of get pushed down to the carpenters working on the job, whether that was in-house team or a trade. So floor framing, doing the verifications, this would all get done this could be done during like an electrical walk where you're already on site a little bit more thoroughly, or a wrap up of rough-ins just to verify everything that we have get done. So the main point of this would be to ensure that we can get rough-in inspection the first time around. So for floor framing, things like checking the hardware, checking bolt patterns, making sure that we have all the temp stairs or rails needed wherever we need it. Make sure we're sheathed underneath of the whole addition if it's on piers or something like that. Some verifications. Wall framing will need to do nailing patterns, need to do wind bracing, need to do wrapping, basically checking to make sure all the headers are in appropriately, blockings in accordingly. Roof framing, make sure all the trusses are set properly. There's blocking in between it or whatever's called out in the truss package. Salim, I'm not sure if we want to also add to this somewhere in there that the truss package is also turned over, or if that's something elsewhere, not on site as part of this. All roof vents are cut. The roofing should be on by rough-ins. So just verify that the right underlayment went down, the right roofing went on. While we're still in framing, make sure that like valleys, crickets, everything's managing the water to hit the downspouts we want them to hit. I think that's pretty good for right there if you want to scroll down, Salima. And we kind of get into insulation next. Now realize that it goes framing, insulation, and then trades, but that's only to make it so this would be able to be on 2 pages. So it's a little out of order, but that's just to shrink the pages down. So under insulation, we have all the checking for spray foam and baffles, and the attic ventilation system is done properly. Crawl system is done properly. We're all cleaned up by the time insulation is done. Then we do get into fire stopping and blocking just to make sure everything's ready to rock and roll for drywall.
Andrew, when we were talking about this previously, you mentioned asking for like where the client might want to block for artworks, which is not something we typically do.
Yes.
But might be a good idea for a potential AWO.
So under blocking right there, it's like, you got a block if you got a pedestal sink or a wall mount sink, any shower grab bars going in, towel bars, any specific ceiling fans might need blocking for any floating shelves that might not have cleats or something like that, especially for mantles, wall mounted TVs. Super easy to do all this stuff while the wall's open. If we forget to do it and then we drywall, well, then all of a sudden it's a pain in the butt. Sometimes drywall anchors can't hold the weight we need that we'll want for some of those floating shelves in kitchens. Other is like artwork. So that's an opportunity that we have as PMs to walk the job, ask the client prior to drywall. You can do that at electrical walkthrough or whenever we're starting the framing, and they could walk the rooms and see where they want artwork, and we can offer them for a certain dollar amount per blocking. We could hang blocking up, so where they're going to hang a heavy picture, a mirror, or something like that. That'd be very helpful. It's definitely customized. So the clients, it would be relatively economical, and I think the clients would really enjoy that. Once we get into then the rough-ins and the rough-in starts, we got electrical, plumbing, and HVAC going in there. We might revise this to go in order that we have the trades come in. But this would just be kind of a checklist of what takes place per phase that we want to verify in order. And these are just memory joggers to make sure that the trade did what they needed to do. What we kind of have is we have plumbing broken up by plumbing. And then if we scroll down a little bit, gas is its own separate item. And in a previous iteration of this checklist, each one of these items was a checkbox. And that's not what we're trying to do. So we kind of have it broke so that the check boxes are per the phase. So that gets done. And what I believe would be the success of this would be to have whoever's doing all the installation verify that this is done. And then it's a lot easier to go back and double check that they did it appropriately. And so sometimes when you're on site, you just need a memory jogger of what to look for. And this is a good memory jogger. So Salima, maybe you want to talk about like what you're looking for a sign off, where it's saved, how that's going to get turned in.
Yeah, absolutely. So this looks like a lot because we were trying not to make it 3 pages long. The idea is just for you to have all the information on one sheet so you know what to look for. You don't have to go to every line item to initial, or just look at everything, check it out, verify, and then check off the box at the top of that section. Now keep in mind, when you check that off, we'll be looking for you to sign the sheet saying that yes, you verified everything, and date it. Once your signature is on there, you own it. So it's really important that you're doing the verifications, even though each of those items don't have a checkbox. Some of them don't apply to all projects. So it's just, again, a memory jogger. The idea is to have it signed off after you have verified everything and turn it over to your PDs, just like you do the weekly meeting forms. Turn it over to the PDs. The PDs will upload it into the file where it goes. We have a project management folder in production, and all of these things will be stored there. The other thing that should be part of this training, Andrew, was photos that we need to take for, say, rough-ins. Can you give some examples of what kind of photos the PMs would be looking to take?
Well, all of the blocking, it would be helpful to take pictures of all the blocking. So then when you can verify that it was there, any real plumbing that takes place for showers and everything, we can see what's kind of happening. Sometimes it's good for any plumbing to have a shot of where it's maybe going from first floor up to second floor. So you can see what's there. We can come back, and if we had any like leaks or any issues, we know where it is. Any problem areas. So all major intricacies of framing or roughings.
Awesome.
Another thing that to take pictures of in roughings from like a marketing standpoint is you kind of see where the shots are going to be cool, right? So we take the before shots where we know it's going to be like a cool shot, where we want the finished shot to be, the finished photo. So it's nice to take some during photos, which would be prior to drywall, from that same angle. So where you think that project is really going to turn out to be neat.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not the final version. We're still moving things around to make sure they're in the right categories. So I will send a finalized version by email and let you know where it's stored after this is complete. But do you guys have any questions so far, comments, things to add?
No, I'd like to print it out, and look at it a little more.
Yep, redline it, please.
Mhm.
Any edits you suggest?
But right
I
now,
mean-
it's saved in the training folder in production.
It will be after this training, yes.
I think as far as the memory jogger thing is concerned, that's fine for the PMs. But as far as, when you said like owning something, I get it. But that owning should be on behalf of the trades, whosoever working there. That should be part of, their scope of work, to make sure all these are checked in, all these boxes, because they are the ones who are doing the work there. I mean, and they have to just check everything step by step. We can just obviously, go there and check whatever they are doing. But in terms of owning this thing, fine, we can, just put our initials next to their ones, but it should be owned by them.
Correct. So in the different categories, we kind of have framing, and then electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and insulation, right? So that's kind of 5 different phases of construction. And those are going to be 5 different teams. Most likely, those are 5 different teams that are doing those steps. And sometimes it might be our team, in-house team doing it, and sometimes not. But either way, those 5 teams are responsible for each one of these sections. And so this memory jogger is for you to verify that those teams did their process correctly.
Mhm.
And if we catch a trend, say that the electrician is missing certain steps frequently that you're catching, well, then this is the indicator we can go and have a more management meeting with that company to make sure that they're verifying and they're supervising their own people, because that's not what we should be doing. But this is a means that you can verify it, so you don't miss your rough-in inspection on that first try, which might delay your project.
Yeah, so the idea behind this, Oz, is not to let the trades know what they need to do. They already have their scope. They know what they need to do, but this is just us verifying that they've done it the right way. So this is us having our checklist. So when we're coming and we're checking behind plumbing, we know what to highlight, like, okay, I didn't see this done here. And maybe have a conversation with them about that. Also, like Andrew said, spotting trends. So if there's a certain plumber or electrician that's skipping a certain step and it's happening all the time, then we want to know that and have a conversation with them as well.
So we get to this point of a project, Salima, this gets printed out and filled out. Is that what happens?
Yes.
And then what happens?
So we get to this phase of the project, it's checked off, signed and dated, and it gets sent to the PD, who will file it away in the client folder. I don't want to put it in co-construct for now. It might be something we decide to do later, but we just want this to be for the internal team.
Could this be the same thing where instead of having to get sent to the PD, where maybe they could take a picture of it on site and just post it straight to Slack?
Yes, that is also an option. So that'll be the option for everything. Same thing with the weekly meetings. You can take a picture, upload it in Slack, your PD will grab it from there. Yep. That may actually be the fastest way.
Yeah, because the PD gets it as well, but at least it's saved right there.
Yeah, both pages, please, would be awesome.
So if that's the case, then the hard copy doesn't need to be turned in, so that can get recycled.
Mhm.
Nice and easy.
Or we can just put the hard copy on our PD's desk afterwards. I mean,
Yeah, either way.
Either or, whatever
Yeah.
works. As long as we get it back with you, that's perfectly fine. Andrew, when are these, you might have mentioned it earlier, but just to clarify, when are these checklists happening? So we're assuming that the framing one can happen right around when Ruffin is starting, because all the framing is done for the most part by then. And then the Ruffin one will happen probably around insulation, because Ruffin's completed at that time. And then insulation fire blocking would be the last.
Correct. So I don't think that we'll be seeing this over at Bannon or Harvey or Hers. I think we all missed that. We wouldn't be doing at Rosento. I think we're completed with that. So I think that we could probably get it at Rualis. We could get it at Trask. We could get it at Selaznik.
Awesome, sounds good.
And there is a task on the co-construct schedule that says framing checklist. Is that correct?
Yes, there is.
So that task will get assigned to the PM. So that would just come on your daily task. So it should just be that will be a memory jogger for you to go get this spreadsheet, or
Mhm.
go get this this document.
Do you think this will be helpful, Jack, Ozim?
Yeah, it'll be helpful.
it's a good memory jogger. But yeah, time will tell if it'll help or not.
I mean, it's definitely a checklist we should do before we go on inspections.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our goal is to pass inspections on the first try. So if we have the checklist, maybe we can save that additional step of having to fix something and have it re-inspected.
So as we revise this document to make it have value, ensure that it has value, edit what's applicable, add what's not included in here that we think should be included in here. I could definitely foresee this, potentially be posted on the wall of a job site, so that, like Ozip, what you're saying is, so then everybody that's working on the job knows that you're going to come in and verify all these items. So that ensures that they'll get that done, and it should
That's the best thing to do. Yep.
it would make your walkthrough then to do this checklist much quicker, since everybody would know your expectations.
Much quicker and easier, because that particular chart would be always there on the wall of the job site, and whenever these trades are in or our lead carpenter is, I mean he can see that chart every time he's there, and they can just keep checking and keep checking those boxes once the activity is done. So
Yeah, if I had it on the wall at a project, I'd probably just highlight everything that I saw that had been completed and leave the stuff that weren't done unhighlighted until the trades were done, and then have a conversation like, well, these 3 things didn't get done or whatever. So yeah, I think
However you see fit that you want to run your projects, I think that starts to then, we're trying to get some framework that'll help you, but specifically how you want to utilize this tool, leave that up to you. You can run it differently per your jobs, whatever you see fit.
Mhm. Sounds good.
Like, cool. I think that's the end of this recording, Salima. High
I
five.
think that's it. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
thank you.
Oh, we're not rating this one?
Let's rate. We're absolutely rating this meeting.
Thanks, Jack. I know what
What's the
Jack,
scale now? Is it 5 or is it 10? I don't know anymore.
I know what Jack's is because it's only 23 minutes in. I know he's going to grade it a 10.
Yep. Oh, it's 10. Okay, 10. Yeah, 10.
10? We got a 10 from Jack? Wow.
A 10 out of 5.
Fantastic.
Or 5, either way. However you guys are grading it.
Oz,
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Oz is almost a believer. That's cool.
Yeah, I would also give it a 9 out of 10. We're not done with this checklist, but I really appreciate like just launching it, and I'd rather just get it going to see where it works, see where it doesn't work, and give feedback and then adjust as we go, rather than doing so much prep time ahead of time to try to get this like perfect document out.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because this slacker didn't finish our edits, but it will be done. All right, cool. Thank you, guys.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Andrew, I saw your email for the new job. I'll look at that.